Hey Taurus, my name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. Those of you that are new here, welcome, and those of you returning, welcome back. This is a reading for the month of November, Taurus, and let's see what's around you, what might be happening for you, what to watch out for, how your energy is sitting, what your focus might be, and some potential outcomes. Okay, so Taurus, I know a lot of you guys were, pretty definite about moving on now from a very deep connection, um, which was quite burdensome for you, quite heavy and overwhelming. But a lot of you are pushing on through to the other side. Okay, so that's great. All right, healing is in the house for you, Taurus. Okay, all right, just watch out, okay, that you don't feel a little bit stuck this month in whatever it might be. If you have a decision to make about something, work, love, or life, be patient with yourself, okay? The reason why you might not be making that decision, Taurus, is because you're not feeling that momentum, that passion behind the decision-making process. So, be patient and be compassionate with yourself around decisions, okay? Might be quite key. Center of your reading. Yeah, look at this. Look, remember what I was saying to you at the very start of this reading? From the past, getting over disappointments, Taurus. You might start to feel a little bit lighter. You might start to feel, okay, I'm leaving the past in the past. I'm getting over disappointments here. Okay, it's the center of the reading. The challenge that you might have, all right, look, let's honest. I post every 2 weeks on YouTube my readings. So we're only getting small increments of change, okay, in a couple of weeks, guys. It's not, Rome wasn't built in a day, but you weren't on that job to us. What I mean to say is that healing takes time, okay? And it will be totally unrealistic to say your life is going to be rainbows and unicorns throughout November. We're still dealing with, you know, the residue of October and previously. So you're getting over disappointments, okay? The challenge might be, the past might come back and revisit you a little bit, fleeting thoughts and emotions, Taurus. All right, just look at it as a passing cloud and go, oh, here we go again. All right, I'm not staying in my daydream, wasting hours thinking about it, playing Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. We're getting over the disappointment. We're seeing those thoughts and those emotions rise up to be healed, Taurus, and we just let them go. Give me another thought, something more positive, okay? I can't change the past, can I, Taurus? All right. Reason why it's all happening. Okay, yeah, look, I was telling you, or saying there about these cards on the table, that healing takes time. The reasons why those thoughts and emotions, you've got over the disappointment, but there still will be some, emotional charge or residue, Taurus, okay? So be patient with yourself, okay? And the reason why that's happening is because you haven't fully healed, Healing takes time, and everyone works at different speeds, Taurus. So if anyone says to you, you should be over this by now, you know what? There's no blueprint. We're human beings and we all work at different speeds, okay? So take your time, be compassionate. When you find yourself daydreaming and taking yourself into melancholy, live there for a certain amount of time, Taurus, then really pick it up with some vibrant music or go for a run or something like that just to change your state, because the other side of melancholy gets quite bad, but it's a beautiful state to live in. Some of the best poetry and music is it's always written in a melancholic state, but we don't want to live there too long. So just watch out for that, right, throughout the month of November. Recent past, Seven of Pentacles in reverse. You stop waiting, Taurus, okay? Part of the healing process, So you stop waiting around. You start to look at the facts, basically. But even though I'm still healing and, I'm getting over the disappointment, but there's still an emotional charge, okay? Yeah, your focus, dropping burdens, Taurus. It's a continuation of last month where you're feeling lighter. It's the 10. You've carried a heavy burden, okay? Which can affect your energy. It can make you more susceptible to being manipulated again when we're carrying that emotional darkness or, black dog on our shoulder or over our shoulder. It makes us, a little bit more easy to penetrate. And I mean that, in as much that, darker forces or energies or people, because our energetic field or we're porous, because we're healing. So watch out for that, okay? But you're dropping burdens, you're going to feel lighter, Taurus. What you don't see coming towards you, you're going to be a little bit more pragmatic, a little bit more Taurian, grounded, earthly, in as much that you're going to avoid tower moments. Okay, so whatever you've gone through, Taurus, you've learned lessons from it. You know, you're taking the lessons, getting over the disappointment. Yes, there's still an emotional charge, but I am not going back there again into certain situations, love, life, or work. Okay, your energetic field, all right, it's a beautiful card, the Hermit. The Hermit is all about being self accountable, accountable to oneself. Only I can change my state. Nobody can change my state for me. You know, the Hermit, he's capable of an apology when he's wrong. It's a very spiritual card, and it really is your energetic field. You might come off as quite spiritual or quite deep throughout the month of November. People will see this in you. Um, you know, the Hermit, when used correctly, you know, it's all about growth and healing. Okay, when it's used incorrectly, we stay at home playing sad songs and not changing our state. Okay, outside influences. Okay, look, you know, Taurus, there was some confusion. You know, maybe, you know, you have been in a confused state. Okay, coming into this reading, you know, coming out of last month into this month, you know, sometimes you might confuse yourself, okay, with these lingering emotions or, you know, the residue. Don't get confused, you know, just be compassionate and just say, hey, look, you know what, this is completely normal. In your fears, we got the Four of Swords in reverse. Some of you, just for a select few, not a personal reading, some of you are fearing that you might break no contact with somebody, all right? Um, it's a fear of yours that you might cave in. Okay, that's up to you, Taurus, you know. And then the outcome for you is great. Okay, you will find that the month of November, we got the Judgment as an outcome, all right, which is it's like final orders at the bar, last call for that plane taking off to Paradise Island, making life decisions, okay? And that might come through reflection, self reflection, or just being reflective. Okay. And once we've done enough of that, we decide, okay, all right, time to move forward now. I think I've got it. I know where I let myself down with the Hermit here. Maybe I was too available to people. Maybe I was projecting all of my good stuff onto people that didn't merit it. But I'm making decisions now, major life decisions, in line with my abundance. I'm dropping burdens, all right? Stick around. I'm going to clarify this, Taurus, and let's go a bit deeper. What's this reading all about for you for November? You know, there might be like a lack of closure for some of you, and you are really hoping to get some closure, but you know, sometimes it doesn't come. We've got to give it to ourselves, Taurus, you know? I accept the apology I may never receive is a great mantra, you know? You're giving yourself permission to move on, right? Five of Cups in reverse. Why is that here for you, Taurus? Okay, you're getting over the disappointment, even though you had a lot of affection for somebody. Somebody might have had heavy water in their chart, okay? But you're getting over the disappointment, even though you still might have affection for somebody, Taurus. Okay? The challenge is Six of Cups in reverse, you know, not going back to the past, trying to forget the past, Taurus, and moving on. It's a challenge, okay? And that's what I was saying about healing. Be compassionate. We all work at different speeds, Taurus, all right? Don't let anyone say, you know, you should be over this, all right? Yeah, the reason why it's all happening, I think, you know, there was a certain situation that made you feel stuck, Taurus, okay? Stuck in life, stuck without closure, which is tough, okay? I think everyone should give people closure, to be honest, but, you know, that's utopian thinking. Not everyone's capable of doing that, are they? And so, yeah, the reason why everything's happening, you haven't fully healed, and you might have felt a bit stuck, okay? Recent past, you know, coming into this, you gave up waiting and decided, I just want to free myself from these heavy thoughts and all these kind of things, all right? Burdens. Your focus is letting them go, even though part of you, Taurus, you know, doesn't feel that it's fully ended or closed out. Some of you might be waiting for closure, okay, still. But that's, it's very normal, isn't it? Okay. Which you don't see coming towards you, okay? You are going to avoid any tower moments, Taurus. Hear me out on this one. It's just for a select few of you, I think. But you're not going to make any. You're going to avoid tower moments by following lust, okay? Ace of Wands there, okay? Some of you, if it's about work, you're going to be very picky in your creative endeavors, okay? As much as you might be passionate about something, you might decide to leave it alone because it's not in line with who you are or the morals and values of the company that you might be working with, even though you're passionate about your craft. You might avoid it. But certainly for some of you, you're going to really start to look at not giving yourself away too quickly and these kind of things, all right? Yeah, avoiding kind of like the nature of yourself, Taurus, that you're loving sensual people, okay? And yeah, I think you don't want to go down the road just yet of, being driven by lust, okay? As beautiful as it might be at times, but it's fragile ground, isn't it? I think, for you guys, Taurians, you're looking for depth as well. And these kind of things, all right? So you're being very accountable to yourself. Yeah, after deep reflection, Taurus, you are walking away, okay? Just realizing that, you've got a rucksack on your back there of heavy stones, which you're dropping. It's your focus to drop them. But, you're emptying rocks as you go. So the bag's getting lighter, okay? And you're walking away. And the beauty of, these are both very spiritual cards, actually. The Eight of Cups, along with the Hermit. The Eight of Cups is super spiritual. It really is. I don't know where I'm going. I just know that I've got to leave. And so he's guided. He has faith, There's something out there. Outside influences, we've got the Seven of Cups, all right? Outside influences, Taurus. The Tower's come out twice in this reading, okay? You might have gone with options in the past, Taurus, or there's an option still around you which is quite dangerous and it's trouble as an outside influence, might have really shook your world. And you're wondering, do I leave that alone? Okay. Or some of you, an outside influence is you're starting to really think about your options now of what you used to find attractive in people. Maybe it's changing, Taurus. Some of you, all right, it's just a fear. Do you remember I was saying to you about breaking no contact, reaching out to someone because you haven't got closure? You don't feel that it's been closed out with the world in reverse here. The world talks about endings and brand new beginnings, It's a fear of yours. I think you're quite anxious about that, when we're in this kind of state and we have these kind of fears, Taurus, if we like a bottle of wine, we could drink that bottle of wine and then reach out, just watch out for that, just for a select few, not a personal reading, as I say. Okay, yeah, you're making decisions, Taurus. This is, for some of you, this could be about a third party situation, okay? Three of Cups in reverse here. Some of you are deciding that you don't want to collaborate in certain work scenarios here. You might be, creative. You might be a very creative Taurus, but you just want to avoid tower moments of getting involved with, certain collaborations with people. Okay. Others of you making decisions about, what, third party. I'm a choice, not an option, and I'm being decisive about it now. Some of these options, have caused me pain and shaken the ground I walk on with the tower there. Okay, let's go. I just want to go a bit deeper here. What's that all about? I'll take this deck. What's that all about? As an outcome for you, making life decisions, Taurus. And as I say, for some of you, third-party situations or too many people in the mix, dating someone and having to date their family as well, or dating them and dating their work colleagues, all this kind of third party could be anything, right? Let's have a look. Yeah, I think your healing is it takes precedence still, Taurus. It's all too fresh, and I need time and space away from this. Okay, and some of you, might be wondering. I have no idea as to why you're interested in me. You're already, in a situation elsewhere. What's in it for me? That kind of thing. Why are you even interested in me? You might have affection for this person, Taurus. What's that all about anyway? Getting over the disappointment with the King of Cups. Yeah, it might have been a deep connection, Taurus. All right, you might have felt very much a togetherness with this person, and you're in two minds, and I'm just wondering whether somebody might have spoken lines to you in the past, Taurus. You're too good for me. You deserve better. All right, you know. You might still follow this person on social media, or they might follow you, Taurus. Just watch that. If you're trying to heal, stay away from social media and that kind of thing. It's just perpetuating the same thing and prolonging your healing. Taurus, if you're a song, okay, throughout the month of November, if you're a song, all right, the lyrics might mean something, the band, the melody might evoke certain feelings within you, subliminal messages within the lyrics. So Cruel by U2, okay? So Cruel by U2. It might have come out before for you, but this is a song all about a particular guy's, like in this case, Bono wrote this, okay? It's written about a woman, but you could, it's not gender specific. You can actually turn it around. It's a song about his love for someone quite selfish and a little bit narcissistic, okay? So great tune. Listen to it once. If there's a message, within the text for you, then great, all right? Music can be great in healing and to bring to your awareness certain things that you haven't considered, Taurus. Speaking of something to consider, let's have some messages now throughout November. What might be quite key for you moving forward, living the best life, Taurus, living in abundance, something that you might have overlooked in your healing process, well, something that you could certainly consider. What's going to be quite key or instrumental for your November? Self-esteem, Taurus, confidence, self-love, self-worth, and pride. And that's where a lot of you are making decisions. You know what? No time for third parties. There are some options that are very dangerous for me. I'm not going down that lust route. It can be quite shallow. Is there friendship even at the base of it? Guidance, support, love, signs, and direction. Signs and symbols are all around you, Taurus. Look out for them. Somebody tells you about a book and you hear it 3 times from 3 different people. Buy the book. Maybe you're supposed to read it, right? Support, love, signs, and direction. Guidance. Seek out wise counsel. Certainly, Taurus, don't get relationship advice or career advice from people that are in miserable careers or miserable marriages and relationships, right? Seek out wise counsel from people that are happy and they're making things work. And then possessions, belongings, finances, assets, and treasures might be quite important to you. Okay, so watch your security throughout the month of November. Don't leave your bike unchained when you go shopping, those kind of things. But that might be part of your November. When you're thinking about your assets, your treasures, your finances, and these kind of things. Okay, and with self-esteem, confidence, and self-love, sometimes it's all about investing wisely. With your finances. Taurus might be quite key to some of you. Where was I going to go? Yeah, so one of these. This is like a positive message to love and leave you with. Oh, I want to do a couple of love messages for you guys, all right? So this is a positive message. Keep in your back pocket, Taurus. Pull it out whenever you want just to give yourself a little boost. Taurus, a positive message for you. Yes, this has just come out for another sign, actually. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever it is you're wondering about or asking about, the answer is a strong yes, Taurus. The time is right, and you're ready to move forward. Okay? So you're moving forward, Taurus. Be patient with yourself that the healing takes time. The mind and the heart need to work in unison. If it is about love, let's have a few messages on love, okay, for your November, Taurus. If it is about love, Taurus. If it is about love, attraction in reverse. Okay, Taurus, hear this one. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. Okay, in reverse, it's come out before for you. Some of you are overwhelmed by a certain situation that you don't feel as closed out. You're lacking a bit of closure, so you're not present. There might be suitors or people around you that you're not even seeing. So remember to try and be in the moment, Taurus. Okay, release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy, Taurus. Okay, easier said than done. I know, guys. All right, especially if you but you might still have romantic feelings. Okay, so I think November is a continuation of October, where be patient with yourself, watch how you're trying to heal, watch melancholy, don't get too sad, try and change that state, Taurus, becoming self-regulatory. You might still have romantic feelings, hence the King of Cups there, and getting over the disappointment. Okay, so you might be 50-50. And so we kind of like want to get to 70-30, don't we, Taurus, where we're, yeah, you know what, there's only 30% residue left there now. I think you're swaying beyond 50%, in your healing and totally moving forward, because it looks like throughout November, maybe the latter part of November, making serious calls, serious judgment calls about your life and situations that may have done a lot of damage, or sometimes we can keep attracting the same person in a different body, Taurus, can't we? And it's just because it feels like home. That's a very deep subject. That's all about going back into childhood and things like that, right? But it's not about that. So yeah, I think it really is about looking at your options, knowing I am not going down the lust route. It never lasts, Taurus. You kind of want a balance between passion and intellect and friendship at the base of something, that you can build something solid and sensual with someone. It's what you guys are all about, and you love food, don't you? So make sure you're eating well, Taurus, and treat yourself to some nice chocolate cake. All right. But yeah, you might still be in the process of healing, and be patient with yourself, and, have some fun in the meantime. Healing can be fun if we look at it in certain ways. I just want to take a look at this, all right? It's the only thing that's worrying me. Outside influence is Seven of Cups for the Tower. Okay. What's that all about for Taurus? What's that all about? That jumped out. All right, for a select few, look, Taurus, some of you, you have been attracting pretty dangerous options, that just, shake your world. It's not built on a solid foundation with the Tower there. It may have been about lust and these kind of things. It might have been beautiful, the physical intimacy, but was there true intimacy? Into me you see. Because you're looking for, I think you're really looking for someone authentic without a mask, Taurus, and you're looking for someone loyal, a loyal partner. So some of your options, you might be actually seeing them as, no, they're actually quite tricky and a bit dangerous. I'm making decisions now where to invest in and who to collaborate with. Okay. I think that's about it from me, guys. Look, have an amazing November. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. If you like the content, please like, share, or subscribe. It means I can continue to do this for free for you. If you want a personal reading, you can reach out on moderntarot.net directly, or browse the YouTube Modern Tarot store. And I'll do my best to give you some clarity on your personal situations. In the meantime, Taurus, have an amazing November, and I'll see you back here maybe mid-month. Take care. Bye.